told you that 10 years ago, a student was expelled from school for bringing a knife? You'd probably think, okay, great, the school is protecting its students and staff. Well, what if I tell you that this kid was a straight-A student, an excellent swimmer, had a scholarship lined up at a great college for swimming, and was never known for violence or bad behavior? You're still probably thinking, well, some kids just snap. They can't be bringing dangerous weapons to school. No excuses. Yes, that's true. But now what if I told you that it was this knife? A butter knife. And it was left in the flatbed of his truck outside the school, and it was left there because he was helping move all of his grandma's stuff out of the nursing home. He's not so vicious now, is he? You still think he deserved to be expelled? Taylor has had his future pulled away from him because of the zero-tolerance policies at high school, and it's instilled in almost every state. We had zero-tolerance policies at my high school, and I usually had the same idea that everyone else did. It would help keep us safe. But too many times I've seen the wrong student be punished for something as simple as a bread knife in their truck, or for defending themselves when they're being beaten up. Schools need to retire zero-tolerance policies. They need to find a new way to eliminate risk and harm in schools, and they need to have a different way of looking at incidents at schools. So to begin with, what is zero tolerance? NASP resource states that zero tolerance initially was defined as consistently enforced suspension and expulsion policies in response to weapons, drug, and violent acts in the school settings. Over time, however, zero tolerance has come to refer to district or school-wide policies that mandate predetermined, typically harsh consequences or punishments, such as the suspension and expulsion, for a wide degree of rule violation. Most frequently, zero tolerance policies address drug, weapons, violence, smoking, and school disruption in efforts to protect all students' safety and maintain a school environment that is conducive to learning. Zero tolerance was put in place to help teachers run a better classroom. They thought that just by eliminating the troublemakers, that teachers could devote more time to teaching rather than trying to maintain order in their classroom. So why should this affect you? Well, let's look at what zero tolerance has done. While many people are supportive of the zero tolerance policies because it has eliminated risks in schools and it also helped decrease some of the drug use, it's mostly had a negative impact on students. According to NASP resources, research indicates that, as implemented, zero tolerance policies are ineffective in the long run and are related to a number of negative consequences, including increased rates of school dropout and discriminatory application of school discipline practices. And NASP aren't the only ones who have seen that. The American Psychological Association Zero Tolerance Task Force evaluated evidence to make appropriate recommendations regarding zero tolerance policies and its practices. They reviewed the 20-year history of the policies and reported that there's surprisingly few data that could directly test the assumptions of a zero tolerance approach to school discipline. Moreover, zero tolerance policies may negatively affect the relationship of education with juvenile justice and appear to conflict to some degree with current best knowledge concerning adolescent development. The report offers recommendations for both reforming the zero tolerance where it's implemented and it's necessary, and for alternative practice to replace zero tolerance where no more appropriate approach is indicated. So why did they come to this conclusion? Well, we can look at the victims of the zero tolerance policies. They have this one-size-fits-all policy, and it's hurting kids more than it's helping. It is treating major and minor infractions the same. Who do you think a suspension from school is helping? An online article from the Badge Guys says that the use of both in and out-of-school suspension as punishments, rather than serve as a deterrent, merely ensures that the student is not being educated and is further isolated from social support, as well as positive reinforcement. That means that it's hurting these students more than it's helping the schools. In fact, schools can lose funding if they have high dropout rates. So if zero tolerance is increasing those numbers, it's going to hurt the schools even more. The online site, The Badge Guys, is written by police officers themselves. Judy Adcock was the officer who wrote the article on zero tolerance, also wrote her experience with the policy. She said that as a patrol deputy, she was often called to handle teens and their parents who were having trouble with their attitudes. She was also a school resource officer at a high-risk, end-of-the-line high school, where she dealt with a lot of teens that had a similar problem, that problem being the one-size-fits-all zero-tolerance policy. The officer wrote, "I found that these policies tended to be used to get rid of problems, so administrators didn't have to put effort into dealing with the individual students' unique circumstances and find creative solutions. The teachers were told to send discipline problems to the guidance counselor or the principal's office. As a result of this dysfunctional system for parents, students, and teachers, students were isolated in failure. Discipline, rather than being utilized to build on success, was arbitrarily punitive and failed to model appropriate coping methods or build student motivation. So in conclusion, I have explained what zero tolerance policies are, who they affect, and why they are hurting our students. Hopefully school administrators will soon see all the negative effects that these policies are having on their students, and the schools will be compelled to change their policies before we destroy more teenagers' future.